So, Caitlin Clark has a new coach, and the new coach is Stephanie White, the coach of the Connecticut Sun last year. And I think a lot of people were excited for Stephanie White, but they were kind of worried about one thing, and it was just how bad the Sun were on offense last year. A lot of people thought, is bringing in a coach who played the slowest basketball in the entire WNBA the right decision? And they're hearing the most recent interview from Stephanie White. I could say does not seem like it is going to be too bad a decision after listening to this. But before we get on to what we are doing Hoopsmas, ignore the 10k. We're going for 40k by Christmas on this channel. We're going to be uploading 5 videos every single day between now and Christmas Day. And if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 39,400 by the end of the day. And we are still on track for hitting 40,000 subscribers by Christmas Day, which is the goal. But anyway, that is the wrong thing. That is for another video. Let's take a listen to this right here from Stephanie White talking about the offensive philosophy.
One of the downfalls of having, a veteran team like we had in Connecticut was we weren't very fast. We didn't play very fast. One of the great things about Indiana is they love to play fast, right? So, what you want to play, I want to play with great pace. It's too hard in our league, and defenses are too good to allow them to get set, to allow them to be able to predetermine what you're going to do. So I also want our players to use their instincts and to play free. We want to make plays, not run plays, right? We want to have sets that give us certain spacing that we want, depending upon our rotations, who's on the floor, who we want to attack, what matchups we want to get to. How can we manipulate them? So we'll have certain play calls that just give us space to operate. And then whichever play we make, whichever pass we make determines, one of 3 actions that our players can read from. And so really giving them the freedom to play within a system, to get to the matchups and really challenging them to find the matchups, the reads, the shots that we want. And I think that that's going to be the next step for a young team. And for a young team, sometimes you need it really structured. Sometimes you need to know what's coming. Sometimes you need to know exactly who's going to get the ball and when. Well, good defenses are going to take advantage of that right away, and you're going to be limited. So the goal for us is to put them in positions to make plays and allow them to do what they do best.
Oh my God. Imagine having a real basketball coach. Oh my God. That is all I need to hear. We need to play with pace because defenses are too good when they set up. We don't want to run sets because defenses can figure it out and they can stop us. Oh my God, thank the Lord. Thank God we have finally got a competent basketball coach. Look, Stephanie White may not be this brilliant basketball mind. She fundamentally understands the sport of basketball. And I mean that. Stephanie White fundamentally understands the sport. And that's the biggest problem with Christy Sides. She did not understand the sport. Her idea of trying to find Caitlin shots was having Caitlin run the exact same. Caitlin screens down for Aaliyah Boston, and Aaliyah Boston doesn't even look for the ball, and then Caitlin comes off a pin down. It was literally Caitlin Clark coming off pin downs. And not like multiple, not like no elevator screens, no like Caitlin Clark coming off from different angles. No, it was literally just dribble entry. Caitlin comes down, come off a pin down. The only sets Indiana ever ran for Caitlin Clark was freaking pin downs. They had the same 4 pin down plays that they literally ran and rotate. They ran basically like a point guard who was like had a wheel for 2K and it was like pick your play. And they would just pick a different pin down every time. And at least when Caitlin Clark was running the show, and then, honestly, if Caitlin Clark had the ball in the half court, it was literally just high pick and roll Caitlin and Aaliyah and hope for the best. They had pin downs, and then they had Caitlin Clark pick and roll. That is the only thing they had. Or Caitlin Clark pass to the wing, dump into Aaliyah Boston, and let Aaliyah go to work. That is the only 3 things they did. Either give it to Aaliyah, or actually no, they had the give it to Kelsey and watch her go tween, step back long 2 brick. They had 5 different things they did. And it is so refreshing to hear a coach who you can tell actually understands in some way. Look, I don't even know if she's the best coach. I don't care if she's the best coach. Like, this is a coach that you can tell actually is a basketball coach and not a motivational speaker. And look, I'll give Christy Sides credit where credit's due. I think Christy Sides seemed to be a decent person. I think Christy Sides did a good job of getting team chemistry up. I think she did a good job. I think she left Indiana in a better position than she got it in, and she did a great job of navigating the circus that was involved with the last NBA season for the Indiana Fever. She did not understand the sport of basketball. Like, she was almost the equivalent of a basketball version of the Ted Lasso TV show, where you've given a coach from a different sport who knows nothing about it a head coach job in a different sport, and they end up doing an okay job despite the fact they don't have a freaking clue what they're doing. Like, it was the equivalent of giving Ted Lasso a job in the Premier League. Like, and now you've got Stephanie White talking about, our whole thing is getting players playing with freedom. We want players to make certain types of decisions. We want our players to shoot more long twos. We want Caitlin Clark to either to make a decision within a half a second, and if she can't score within a half a second, to pass the ball. And it's like, you are literally coaching basketball from the 1980s, Christy Sides. You have a fundamental misunderstanding of who you have as your point guard. You have a fundamental misunderstanding of your franchise player, and you have a fundamental misunderstanding of the sport. You can tell that Stephanie White actually, just at a fundamental, basic level, understands modern basketball. She understands basketball in 2024. Again, I don't think she's going to be this absolutely super coach. I'm not sure she's going to be the best coach in the W. I think she did a really good job last year. I don't think she's a complete game changer that's going to just cause them to dominate just by her coaching. But what she's going to do is she is not going to coach wins out of the team. Christy Sides lost multiple games last year because Indiana would have a 10-point lead. Indiana would have a 10, 15-point lead, and then a timeout would be called. And her thing was, let's try to hold on to the lead. If Indiana had a double-digit lead, it could be 4 minutes into the game. Her goal was to hold on to that double-digit lead. Her idea of taking control of the game was taking the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands and having Erica Wheeler walk the ball up the floor and letting Kelsey Mitchell go ISO. That was her idea of control. But no. We've got, and it's funny, Stephanie White's just like, everything, Chrissy Sides was like, oh, we're not getting shots for Caitlin. We need to run some more sets for Caitlin. Stephanie White's whole thing is like, well, if we run sets, teams figure them out, so we're not really going to do that. We're going to have I'd say they're going to put in some sort of emotion offense where players are going to be able to make decisions. And I trust Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston as two of the best decision makers. I would love to see them put in a European-style motion offense where Aaliyah Boston can kind of play in the high post as that kind of Jokic role. If you watch how Serbia played the Olympics, or as much as anything how Belgium played in the Olympics and the women, we can watch Aaliyah Boston play the MMA summon role. So that's something that I'd be really interested in seeing. But anyway, they've got a competent coach. Fair play to not even Lynn Dunn. Fair play to people in the Fever for firing the motivational speaker and bringing in a coach who, at least at a fundamental level, understands basketball.